What happens when, uh, when like the best laid plans of adventure, when you've got everything meticulously detailed, you think you've got it all figured out, and then bam, you run straight into pure unadulterated chance.
Yeah, it's really that point, isn't it, where everything you've worked for collides with the utterly unforeseen. And as much as it can kind of throw a wrench in the works, I gotta say it's often those random moments that really inject this unique energy and memorability into our games.
I think that's absolutely true. And it makes me think about this one time that my group set out. We were charting a course to what we thought was an uninhabited island. Our goal was to recover some long-lost pirate treasure based on this ancient map we'd got a navigation down pat. We had a surprisingly competent sailor in the group, and morale was sky high.
Right.
We were feeling like, seasoned adventurers ready to claim our prize. And then out of nowhere, as if it just materialized from the mist,
Yeah.
this formidable pirate galleon emerges.
Oh, wow.
And these weren't your, average scallywags. We're talking flamboyant captains, squawking parrots, the whole shebang. And they wasted no time in demanding we surrender everything we had.
Oh, no.
So yeah, our treasure hunt was instantly derailed and replaced with this desperate fight for survival as they tried to board our vessel. It was utter chaos. It was totally unexpected. And to this day, it's one of the most thrilling and talked about sessions we ever had, all thanks to a completely random pirate encounter.
It's amazing how those unpredictable moments become so pivotal in a campaign. It sounds exactly like the kind of scenario that's explored in this piece. We've been looking at 100 thrilling pirate-themed random D&D encounters in a lawless seaport from LitRPG Reads.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're diving into today, the brilliance of these random pirate encounters in the setting of a lawless pirate haven.
Yep.
And what this article really highlights, I think, is that these random encounters aren't just background noise. They're these critical catalysts for suspense excitement, and they create these unforgettable storytelling opportunities in games set in these, kind of anarchic territories.
Yeah.
So let's unpack what the article says about these pirate encounters.
So the article starts by talking about this fundamental nature of a lawless pirate haven as a place defined by chaos. So the author says that in these places, standoffs are basically a given. They're woven into the narrative fabric.
Right.
And when you think about it, without any real governing authority or system of justice, it makes sense that disputes would be settled through direct confrontation.
Yeah.
Whether that's, like a battle of wits, a clash of arms, or just this tense, unwavering standoff.
Right. So let's dive into some of the specific settings the article outlines for these encounters. They're broken down into taverns, docks, pirate markets, the open sea, and then hidden coves and secret hideouts. So let's start with the taverns. What kind of standoffs does the article highlight in those, smoky, lawless establishments?
Well, the tavern is portrayed as like this vibrant and often volatile heart of a pirate community. It's this melting pot where you have like drunken boasts and hushed plots, and the potential for conflict is always simmering beneath the surface.
Right.
And the standoffs that happen in the tavern, they give you this glimpse into the power dynamics and the kind of informal governance of the pirate haven.
Okay.
Like imagine a simple card game that suddenly escalates into, a drawn blade in a duel, or you've got rival captains, their egos clashing, squaring off over a treasure map, and the whole tavern is watching, waiting for a brawl.
Yeah.
Even something like a barmaid overhearing a dangerous plot. What does she do with that information? It's a standoff in its own right.
That's a great point. Even just listening at a tavern can completely unravel someone's plans. And the article mentions things like drunken sailors arguing over past exploits or notorious pirates challenging each other to drinking contests. And it's like a mix of admiration and resentment from the crowd. You've got bounty hunters cornering their quarry in the middle of the revelry, and everyone's calculating escape routes and allegiances are tested.
Yeah, it's a place where you never know what to expect.
It really is. And then there's things like offensive ballads that lead to brawls, clandestine deals happening in the shadows, old grudges resurfacing with a vengeance. It feels less like a place to have a drink and more like a tinderbox, just waiting for a spark.
Exactly. And what's so interesting is how the article shows how these tavern standoffs reveal people's true character. Are they quick to violence? Are they smooth negotiators? Do they protect their crew at all costs? These moments force those traits to the surface.
Yeah.
You also have things like debates over the authenticity of a new treasure map, or this sudden arrival of a mysterious ship in the harbor, and everyone's speculating. Or you could have a local hero, a famous brawler or strategist, challenging someone in the tavern. It all contributes to this sense of a living, breathing, and really dangerous community.
Right, so it's like the tavern is this concentrated microcosm of the pirate world, all the tension and ambition playing out in this one volatile space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move from the taverns to the docks, another inherently chaotic location.
Definitely, the docks are depicted as this bustling hub for both trade and conflict. It's where everything flows in and out of the haven, so you have all these crews and factions with their competing interests constantly interacting.
Right.
And the article points out that disputes on the docks can actually reshape allegiances and have these ripple effects on future voyages.
Okay, so can you give me some examples of these dockside standoffs that the article talks about?
Well, a classic one is a pirate crew demanding safe passage or docking fees, which leads to a standoff with merchants or other crews who don't want to pay or who challenge their authority. And then there are times when multiple ships arrive at the same time, all wanting the limited docking space. And what seems like a logistical issue can quickly turn into a fight as crews try to assert their claims.
Yes, space is at a premium.
Exactly. And then you have the discovery of contraband being smuggled or accusations of merchants cheating pirates on prices, or even confrontations with corrupt local militias trying to enforce their own brand of
It
justice.
sounds like every interaction on the docks could potentially erupt into a standoff.
It really does, and the article gives examples like pirates offering treasure maps but requiring potential buyers to complete a dangerous challenge, or shipwreck survivors suddenly showing up and claiming a hidden treasure.
Right.
There are attempts at cargo theft and broad daylight plots to sabotage ships before they leave. It makes you wonder how any legitimate trade happens amidst all the potential for chaos.
Right. It does seem like a very thin line.
Yeah, and that constant potential for disruption is just part of the nature of a lawless place. The article also mentions things like disputes between shipbuilders, each trying to get contracts, smugglers having their operations blocked by rivals, challenges to local authority figures after unfair deals, bidding wars for cargo that turn violent wedges between crews, derailing negotiations.
Wow.
Even something like a reckless ship race leading to sabotage shows how personal rivalries can escalate into something bigger with wider consequences.
So the docks are like this pressure cooker of competing interests and simmering resentment.
Exactly.
All right, so we've braved the taverns, we've navigated the docks. Now let's head to the pirate markets.
I'm imagining this vibrant, almost surreal bazaar where you can buy anything, and most of it probably has a shady or even cursed history.
Yeah, the pirate market is depicted as this colorful, chaotic arena where greed and deception rule, and the standoffs that happen here often connect individual adventurers to these larger intrigues unfolding within the haven.
It's not just a simple transaction gone wrong. These market confrontations reveal the deeper power dynamics at play.
So what kind of shady dealings and explosive confrontations might we see in these markets?
Well, accusations of selling counterfeit goods are a constant trigger for public and potentially violent confrontations.
Huh?
Then there's the classic scenario of pirates trying to unload cursed artifacts, which leads to arguments with those who know the dangers and the potential consequences.
Right.
You've got bidding wars for rare treasure maps that attract dangerous individuals or factions, a thief getting caught pickpocketing, leading to a chase through the market. Even a vendor refusing to sell to a rival can start a heated argument that draws a crowd and might escalate.
So the market is basically in a constant state of low-level conflict.
Pretty much the article also mentions things like games trying to extort protection money from vendors, stolen goods suddenly appearing and causing a stir among buyers and previous owners' adventurers, accidentally uncovering hidden plots just by overhearing a conversation.
Oh,
Even a street performer accidentally revealing a secret map in their act could set off a chain of events as people try to capitalize on it. And you've got wealthy collectors, maybe nobles or powerful pirates causing jealousy among the common folk, leading to challenges or even brawls over rumors of treasure. It all creates this feeling of a volatile, unpredictable environment.
yeah, where fortunes can change in an instant.
Exactly. And then there are things like territorial clashes between gangs for control of sections of the market, or the consequences of following bad advice from a shady vendor.
Okay.
You could have kidnappings happening in the middle of transactions, or someone trying to sell a stolen ship back to the original owner.
Awkward.
Definitely. And any attempt to impose order or levy taxes is met with resistance from the fiercely independent market folks. And let's not forget the risk of undercover agents from a rival faction or a navy trying to blend in but risking exposure.
That's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, it shows how the market brings together all these different conflicts and ambitions within the pirate haven.
Okay, so from the markets, let's set sail for the open sea. The article really emphasizes the isolation and danger of the open ocean.
Right.
So how do standoffs play out in this vast, unforgiving environment?
On the open ocean, the isolation just amplifies the stakes of any conflict because there's no backup, no immediate help in sight.
Right.
Standoffs can happen because of territorial disputes over fishing grounds or shipping lanes, the need for resources, or just the opportunistic nature of pirates.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to run into out there.
Exactly. And the unpredictability of the sea itself with its storms and hidden dangers often shapes these encounters.
So what kind of high-stakes confrontations might we encounter on the high seas?
Well, territorial disputes between pirate ships or between pirates and Navy vessels are common, leading to standoffs where ships are maneuvering for advantage even before any shots are fired.
Okay.
Boarding actions are classic, leading to these brutal fights for control of a ship. Disagreements within a crew about loot or leadership can escalate into mutinies, forcing people to choose sides with potentially fatal consequences. Even the appearance of a ghost ship can cause paranoia and internal conflict, fueled by fear and superstition.
The sea adds a whole other level of danger to these encounters.
Yeah, the article also talks about how storms can force hostile ships into temporary alliances just for survival, but then those alliances fall apart as soon as the storm ends. Or you have violent disagreements over the location of treasure based on a map of naval pursuits where one ship is chasing another. Even finding shipwreck survivors can lead to arguments among the rescuers about what to do with them, ransom them, enslave them, leave them. It's all very dramatic and dangerous.
So much can happen out on the open sea.
It really can, and the article mentions things like the tension when spotting approaching ships on the horizon and the paranoia of trying to figure out if they're friendly or not.
Right.
Truces made out of necessity that could break at any moment, hostile treasure hunts happening on board a ship where different factions are looking for the same loot.
Oh, wow.
Fog that creates confusion and suspicion, attacks by sea monsters that force tough choices and reveal true intentions. And then there's the risk of spies being discovered, leading to swift and brutal consequences. Arguments over who owns a treasure map, disputes over damage to a ship after a battle or a storm. The isolation intensifies everything.
That's true.
Even something fantastical like mermaid songs causing conflict within a crew shows the unique dangers of the ocean.
Okay, so finally, let's move on to hidden coves and secret hideouts.
Okay.
The article talks about the secrecy and the personal stakes involved in these locations.
Yeah, in these hidden places, betrayals are common and myths and legends can become very real and dangerous.
Right.
The secrecy itself adds to the tension, and the standoffs that happen here often have this personal weight driven by greed, loyalty, or hidden agendas.
So what kind of conflicts might we find in these secret spots?
Well, finding a hidden treasure is a classic trigger for conflict as people argue over ownership and how to divide it.
Exactly.
Secret deals between individuals or factions can go wrong because of informants or double crosses. Pirates revealing the location of a legendary artifact might suddenly face betrayal as others try to take it for themselves. The reappearance of an old enemy can force a confrontation over past grievances.
Yeah, it seems like these locations are ripe for dramatic twists and betrayals.
They really are. The article gives examples like ambushes by rival crews who found the hideout pirates having to choose between loyalties with potentially deadly consequences either way. The rediscovery of a lost ship that rekindles old rivalries. The discovery of curse items that creates paranoia and distrust.
Right?
Secret meetings being interrupted by spies revealing hidden alliances and betrayals, arguments over the authenticity of a map to a treasure. And then you have things like someone uncovering a captain's hidden agenda that benefits only them, which could shatter the crew's loyalty negotiations over failed deals turning hostile. Hidden passages leading to danger, family heirlooms, resurfacing, and complicating things. The reading of a pirate's will that sparks arguments. Even superstitions and fears about legendary figures haunting the cove can lead to conflict.
It's amazing how the article breaks down these encounters by location and shows how the environment itself shapes the standoffs.
Yeah, it really emphasizes the point that these aren't just random events, they're catalysts for storytelling.
Absolutely. The article makes it clear that these moments of tension and conflict are opportunities for character development.
Right.
Players have to make tough choices under pressure, which reveals their values. And for dungeon masters, these encounters are tools for world building. They add intrigue and unpredictability to the campaign.
Exactly. And that unpredictability, often driven by a simple dice roll, is where the magic happens. You never know what's going to happen next, which creates unique narratives and memorable moments.
Yeah, you can plan all you want, but sometimes the dice have other ideas.
That's true. It's a reminder that even the most planned adventures can be delightfully chaotic, keeping everyone engaged and ensuring that no two games are the same.
Well, this has been a really insightful look at random pirate encounters, thanks to the exploration provided by LitRPG Reads in their article, 100 Thrilling Pirate-Themed Random D&D Encounters in a Lawless Seaport.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
It really shows the value of using these potential conflicts to create richer and more engaging tabletop RPG experiences.
I agree, and a shout out to LitRPG Reads for putting together such a comprehensive and inspiring resource for dungeon masters and players.
Absolutely, and we can't forget the article's memorable sign-off, I am Spartacus. I am a wage slave. I am Paul Bello. We're not sure what the connection is, but we definitely want to acknowledge Paul Bello for that statement.
It was definitely memorable.
Now, we want to hear from you, our listeners. What are some of your most memorable experiences with random encounters in your own tabletop RPG campaigns? Have you ever seen a small chance event turn into a major conflict that changed your whole adventure?
Yeah, we'd love to hear your stories.
Share your experiences and insights with us in the comments below.
We're always fascinated by the twists and turns that shape your ventures.
And to wrap things up, let's leave you with this thought. Maybe it's in those unpredictable moments of chance and conflict, the ones we least expect, that the most enduring and unforgettable stories are born.
The ones that stick with us long after the game is over.
Exactly.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.